The starship's metal hull groaned as it docked with the alien vessel. Captain Elena Marquez adjusted her uniform and took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm raging inside her. She was about to face the Shishian, a race known for their ruthless conquest and unyielding pride. Negotiating peace with them was a near impossible task, but humanity needed it. The war had already claimed too many lives. The docking bay doors hissed open, revealing a dim, cavernous room bathed in red light. A group of Shishian warriors stood waiting, their armored bodies towering over her, their faces concealed behind metallic masks adorned with jagged designs. Their leader, High Commander Xyler, stepped forward, his posture rigid and menacing. His golden eyes glowed through his mask, locking onto Elena with cold calculation. "Human," he spoke, his voice echoing in the chamber, "you come here unarmed, seeking peace." A gesture either of great bravery or utter foolishness. Elena held her head high, refusing to be intimidated. "I come representing Earth and the United Federation. We seek an end to this conflict. Enough blood has been shed on both sides. We can coexist without destruction." A low rumble of laughter rippled through the Shishian warriors. Xyler's lips curled into a mocking smile. "Coexist? You presume equality where none exists. Your species is weak, fragile. You beg for peace because you cannot endure war." Elena clenched her fists, keeping her temper in check. "We seek peace not out of weakness, but wisdom. Continued war benefits no one. We can share knowledge, resources. Your people polluted your own planet." Xyler's tone dripped with disdain, exhausting its riches. "You come to the stars like parasites seeking to leech from those stronger than you." Elena's jaw tightened. "We are not parasites. We adapt, we learn, and we have much to offer: diplomacy, alliances, technology." Xyler's laughter boomed, echoing off the metallic walls. "Technology? Your primitive toys? Your weapons barely scratched our ships. Your strategies are predictable, your defenses laughable." He took a step closer, his imposing figure casting a shadow over her. "You come to negotiate peace, but what you truly offer is surrender." "No," Elena said firmly, meeting his gaze without flinching. "I offer partnership, an alliance that could benefit both our civilizations. We can help each other grow." Xyler's eyes gleamed with contempt. "Your arrogance astounds me. You stand before a superior race and speak of alliances as if we are equals. Your world is ripe for conquest. Why should we settle for peace when victory is within our grasp?" Elena's heart pounded, but she maintained her composure. "Because war breeds vengeance. Even if you conquer Earth, resistance will remain. You'll face rebellion, sabotage, endless bloodshed. Peace brings stability and prosperity." Xyler was silent for a moment, his expression unreadable. Then he turned to his warriors, speaking in his native tongue. They responded with guttural growls of approval. Xyler faced Elena again, his golden eyes blazing with resolve. "You misunderstand. Human, we do not fear resistance. We relish it. Conquest is our way. War is our honor. Your species must learn its place." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. If you continue this path, more lives will be lost on both sides. Xyler's smile was cold and merciless. "Sacrifice is the price of glory, and we shall pay it gladly." He raised his arm, signaling to his warriors. "Take her to the holding cells. Let her witness our preparations. She will see the might of the Shishian Empire firsthand before her world burns." Before Elena could react, two warriors seized her arms, their grip like iron. She struggled, but their strength was overwhelming. As they dragged her away, Xyler's voice echoed behind her. "You came to negotiate, human, but we demand war." The doors closed, sealing her fate within the heart of the enemy's ship. Elena's mind raced, searching for a way out, a way to stop the impending carnage. But for now, she was at their mercy, a lone human amidst a race that craved conquest above all else. Would humanity survive the wrath of the Shishian? Or would Earth become another trophy of war for a civilization that knew no mercy? The battle for peace had just begun, and Elena was determined to fight it. Even if she was humanity's last hope. The cold metal floor bit into Elena's knees as the guards threw her into the holding cell. The door slammed shut behind her, the echo resonating ominously through the dim metallic chamber. She pulled herself up, wincing as pain shot through her shoulders. The Shishin didn't hold back on their strength. Her arms throbbed where they had gripped her, bruises already forming beneath her uniform. She scanned her surroundings, noting the barren room, its walls lined with unfamiliar glyphs glowing faintly in a sickly green hue. A single observation panel was embedded high above, undoubtedly monitoring her every move. Elena's heart pounded with fear, but she forced herself to focus. Panicking would solve nothing. She was a captain of a united federation. She wouldn't go down without a fight. Pacing the small cell, she replayed her conversation with High Commander Xyler. His contempt for humanity was palpable, his desire for war unyielding. Diplomacy had failed, but Elena couldn't let this be the end. If she didn't find a way to warn Earth, to prepare them for the coming invasion, countless lives would be lost. A faint hum interrupted her thoughts. The observation panel flickered, and Xyler's face appeared, his golden eyes gleaming with malicious curiosity. "You look troubled, Captain Marquez. Has the reality of your species' doom finally settled in?" he taunted, his voice dripping with mockery. Elena straightened her posture, meeting his gaze defiantly. "You're underestimating us, Xyler. Humanity doesn't break so easily." Xyler laughed, the sound cold and hollow. "Your stubbornness is amusing but futile. Earth will fall, and you will watch as everything you love is reduced to ashes." Elena's fists clenched. "You think war will bring you glory? It will bring nothing but hatred and vengeance. You're setting your own people up for endless conflict." Xyler's eyes narrowed. "Conflict is the crucible that forges strength. Weak races seek peace. The strong take what they desire." "You mistake cruelty for power," Elena retorted, her voice firm. "True strength lies in unity, in building rather than destroying. Your empire won't last if it's built on fear and oppression." Xyler's expression darkened. "I grow weary of your insolence, human. You speak of unity, but your kind has always been divided, fighting over land, resources, and power. Hypocrites preaching peace while waging wars amongst yourselves." Elena's jaw tightened, but she kept her composure. "We have our flaws, yes, but we learn, we grow, we strive for a better future, even when it seems impossible." Xyler's gaze was cold, unyielding. "Your idealism will die with your world." The panel flickered off, and the room trembled as the ship's engines roared to life. Elena felt the unmistakable sensation of acceleration. They were on the move, likely heading toward Earth. Panic surged through her, but she forced herself to breathe, to think clearly. There had to be a way out, a way to stop this madness. She inspected the walls, searching for any weakness, any escape. But the cell was solid, fortified with alien technology far beyond human engineering. Then she heard it, a faint, rhythmic tapping coming from the wall behind her. She pressed her ear to the cold metal, her heart racing. It was a pattern, deliberate and measured. Someone was trying to communicate. Elena tapped back, mimicking the rhythm. The sound paused and resumed, this time in a sequence she recognized, Morse code. Relief flooded her. Not all hope was lost. The message was short but clear. "Hold on. Help is coming." Elena's heart skipped a beat. There was someone on this ship willing to defy Xyler, someone who might help her escape. But who and why? The tapping ceased, and the room fell silent once more. Elena leaned against the wall, her mind racing. She wasn't alone, but she didn't know who to trust. Could this be a trap, or was there truly an ally among her enemies? One thing was certain. She had to be ready. Xyler was marching toward war, and humanity's fate hung in the balance. If she failed, Earth would burn. But if she could escape, if she could warn her people, there was still a chance to stop the bloodshed. Determination burned in Elena's eyes. She wouldn't let humanity fall. Not today, not ever. Hours passed in the cold, dim cell. But Elena remained alert, her senses on high alert. The rhythmic tapping had ceased, but the message echoed in her mind. Hold on. Help is coming. Who could it be? Another prisoner? A dissenter among the Shishin? She needed answers, but for now, patience was her only weapon. The faint hum of the ship's engines grew louder, a steady vibration beneath her feet. They were approaching their destination, Earth. Her chest tightened at the thought of her home planet under siege. The city she loved reduced to rubble. Innocent lives caught in the crossfire. She wouldn't let it happen. She couldn't. The door hissed open, breaking her reverie. 2 Shishin guards marched in, their faces concealed behind jagged masks. They gripped her arms with unyielding strength, pulling her to her feet. She didn't resist, knowing it was futile. They led her through narrow corridors illuminated by the same sickly green glow that lined her cell. The walls were covered in alien symbols, pulsating with a strange rhythmic light. They reached a massive chamber, the ceiling arching high above like a cathedral. In the center stood High Commander Xyler, his golden eyes blazing with triumph. Behind him, a holographic display projected an image of Earth, its blue and green surface rotating slowly, unaware of the impending doom. Elena's heart sank at the sight. The invasion was imminent. Xyler turned to face her, his posture regal and menacing. Beautiful, isn't it? A world so full of life and yet so vulnerable. He gestured to the hologram, his voice dripping with condescension. A planet protected by insects who dare to defy the Shishin Empire. Elena stood tall, her gaze unwavering. You see weakness. I see resilience. We won't fall as easily as you think. Xyler's lips curled into a mocking smile. I admire your defiance, Captain Marquez. It almost makes me pity your kind. He stepped closer, his golden eyes narrowing. Almost. He waved his hand and the hologram shifted, displaying the Shishin fleet, a vast armada of warships, each bristling with weapons, their silhouettes menacing against a void of space. The sheer scale of the invasion force was staggering. Elena's stomach churned, but she refused to show fear. Xyler's voice was low, calculated. We will descend upon your world like a storm, erasing resistance with precision and efficiency. Your cities will burn, your armies will crumble, and your people will kneel. Elena's eyes blazed with anger. You talk about strength, but all I see is fear. You conquer because you're afraid of anyone who challenges your supremacy. Xyler's expression darkened, his fists clenching. Mind your words. Human. You stand on the edge of oblivion, yet you insult the conquerors of worlds. Conquerors. Elena scoffed, her voice dripping with disdain. You're nothing but bullies hiding behind your technology and armies. True power doesn't come from fear. It comes from respect, from alliances, from unity. Xyler's face contorted with fury. Enough. He motioned to the guards, who seized Elena, forcing her to her knees before him. You dare lecture me about power? Your species is weak, divided. Your precious unity is a facade, crumbling at the slightest pressure. Elena met his gaze, her voice steady. Maybe we're not perfect, but we fight for something greater than ourselves. We fight for freedom, for hope, for each other. And that's why we'll never surrender. Xyler's eyes gleamed with malice. You'll change your tune once you see your world burning. He turned to the control panel, his fingers dancing over the alien symbols. The hologram zoomed in on Earth, highlighting strategic points, major cities, military bases, communication hubs. We strike here, here, and here, Xyler explained, his voice cold and calculating. Simultaneous assaults to shatter your defenses, crush your morale. Your people will beg for mercy. Elena's blood ran cold. The plan was ruthless, precise. They were planning to annihilate Earth's defenses in a single, overwhelming strike. If she didn't escape, if she didn't warn the Federation, they would be caught completely off guard. Xyler glanced at her, his eyes gleaming with cruel satisfaction. "You will watch the fall of your species, Captain Marquez, and then you will kneel before the Shishin Empire." Elena's jaw tightened. "You'll have to kill me first." Xyler's laughter echoed through the chamber, cold and hollow. "Oh, I won't kill you. Not yet. I want you alive to witness the destruction you failed to prevent. I want you to see your people broken, your hope extinguished." He turned to the guards. "Take her back to her cell. Let her contemplate the futility of her defiance." They dragged her away, her body bruised but her spirit unbroken. As they marched her through the metallic corridors, Elena's mind raced, formulating a plan. The Shishin were powerful, but they were arrogant, overconfident. That was their weakness. And if someone on this ship truly was willing to help her, she had a chance, a slim one, but a chance nonetheless. She would escape. She would warn Earth, and she would make Xyler pay for his arrogance. The war wasn't over. Not yet. Back in the cold confines of her cell, Elena paced restlessly, her mind racing with the information she had gathered. Xyler's plan was brutal, meticulously calculated to crush Earth's defenses before they could even react. But knowledge was power. If she could escape, if she could get this intel to the Federation, they might stand a chance. The rhythmic tapping returned, faint but deliberate. Elena's heart leaped. She pressed her ear to the wall, listening intently. The pattern was clear, the message urgent. Prepare, break out soon. Her pulse quickened. Whoever was on the other side was planning something bold. But who were they? Another prisoner, a defector? Elena's mind raced with possibilities. But she couldn't afford to question their motives now. She needed allies, no matter where they came from. Moments later, the lights in her cell flickered, then dimmed, bathing the room in shadows. A low hum reverberated through the walls, followed by a distant explosion. The floor trembled, and the sickly green glyphs lining the walls flickered erratically. The ship was under attack. A surge of hope flooded her. This was a distraction she needed. But how could she escape? The door was solid, reinforced with alien alloys far beyond human technology. Then she heard it, a metallic clang from above. She looked up just in time to see a panel slide open in the ceiling. A figure dropped down, landing with cat-like agility. Elena's eyes widened in shock. The newcomer was Shishin, but smaller, leaner, and dressed in a form-fitting suit instead of heavy armor. They removed their mask, revealing sharp, delicate features and piercing violet eyes. A female, young but fierce, her expression determined. "You're Shishin," Elena stammered, her mind reeling. "Why are you helping me?" The woman's eyes were cold, calculating. Not all of us crave conquest. Some of us see the madness in Xyler's vision. She approached the door, her fingers dancing over a hidden panel. The door hissed open. "Come, we don't have much time." Elena hesitated, suspicion flickering in her gaze. "Why should I trust you?" The woman's jaw tightened. "Because if you don't, Earth burns. And so does my future." Her eyes softened, just for a moment. "My name is Lyra. I am Xyler's sister, and I will not let him destroy another world." Elena's breath caught in her throat. Xyler's sister? This was unexpected. But there was no time for questions. Alarms blared, red lights flashing as the ship shuddered under another explosion. "Fine," Elena agreed, her voice firm. "Lead the way." Lyra moved swiftly, navigating the maze of corridors with precision. Elena struggled to keep up, her human stamina no match for the Shishin agility. They encountered guards along the way, but Lyra moved with lethal efficiency, dispatching them with swift, calculated strikes. Her combat skills were unmatched, her movements fluid and deadly. As they approached a maintenance shaft, Lyra paused, her eyes narrowing. "They'll be looking for you. Xyler will have every soldier on high alert. We need to get to the hangar and escape before they seal off the exits." Elena's mind raced. "If you're his sister, why betray him? Why risk everything to help me?" Lyra's expression hardened. Because he's a tyrant, power-hungry, blinded by his own pride. He seeks glory at the cost of innocent lives. I won't stand by and watch him destroy another civilization. Her eyes gleamed with determination. Our people once valued honor, wisdom. He's corrupted that vision, turned us into conquerors without purpose. Elena was stunned. She had expected nothing but cruelty from the Zixians. Yet here stood one willing to fight against her own blood for justice. You're risking your life, Elena said softly, for a species you owe nothing to. Lyra's gaze softened. I'm risking my life because it's the right thing to do, and because peace is worth fighting for, even if my people have forgotten that. Elena's respect for Lyra grew. This was more than an ally. This was someone who understood the true cost of war. She nodded, her resolve hardening. Then let's make sure your brother doesn't get his victory. They climbed through the maintenance shaft, emerging near the hangar. The massive bay stretched before them, filled with sleek Shishin fighter ships and transport vessels. Guards patrolled the area, their weapons at the ready. Lyra's eyes scanned the room. We need to get to that transport shuttle, she whispered, pointing to a small, agile craft at the far end of the hangar. It's fast enough to escape the fleet's blockade and get you back to Earth. Elena's heart raced. This was it, their chance to warn the Federation, to save Earth from annihilation. But the path to the shuttle was heavily guarded. How we get past them? She asked, her voice tense. Lyra's lips curved into a sly smile. Leave that to me. She pulled out a small device, its screen flickering with alien symbols. This will disable the security systems and create a diversion. When the alarms go off, head straight for the shuttle. I'll cover you. Elena's eyes widened. You're not coming with me? Lyra hesitated, her eyes betraying a hint of sadness. My place is here. I must stop Xyler, or he'll never stop hunting you or your people. She placed a hand on Elena's shoulder. Go. Save your world. I'll buy you the time you need. Elena's chest tightened. She wanted to argue, to convince Lyra to escape with her, but she saw the resolve in her eyes, the unshakable determination. Lyra was willing to sacrifice everything to stop her brother's madness. Thank you, Elena whispered, her voice choked with emotion. For everything. Lyra's eyes softened. Fight well. Human. Prove to my brother that strength isn't measured by conquest. She activated the device, and alarms blared, the hangar lights flashing wildly. Chaos erupted as guards scrambled, their systems malfunctioning. Elena didn't look back. She ran, her heart pounding, dodging confused soldiers as she raced toward the shuttle. The path was clear, just as Lyra had promised. She climbed into the cockpit, her hands flying over the unfamiliar controls. The ship roared to life, its engines vibrating beneath her as she took off. She caught one last glimpse of Lyra, standing defiantly amidst the chaos, facing the guards with unwavering courage. Elena's throat tightened. She owed Lyra her life, and she wouldn't let that sacrifice be in vain. She would reach Earth. She would warn the Federation. And she would stop Xyler's war of conquest, because humanity wasn't weak, and neither was hope. The shuttle shot out a hangar like a bolt of lightning, its engines roaring as it hurtled into the vast expanse of space. Elena's fingers flew over controls, her mind racing as she navigated the unfamiliar systems. The cockpit was sleek and alien, the interface a mess of glowing symbols she barely understood. But there was no time for hesitation. Alarms blared as the Shishin fleet sprang into action, warships pivoting to intercept her escape. She gritted her teeth, forcing herself to stay calm. Come on, she muttered, searching for the thruster controls. Her heart leaped as the shuttle surged forward, its speed unlike anything she had ever piloted before. The stars blurred around her as she pushed the engines to their limit, weaving through the blockade. A barrage of plasma bolts erupted behind her, the deadly projectiles sizzling past her ship with terrifying speed. The enemy fighters were fast. Too fast. They closed the distance rapidly, their cannons blazing. Elena swerved hard, narrowly dodging a burst of fire that would have torn her to shreds. Her eyes darted to the navigation screen, frantically searching for an escape vector. Earth was still far away, and the blockade was tightening. She needed to outmaneuver them to find a way through, but they were everywhere, swarming like angry hornets. Suddenly, the cockpit's comms panel crackled to life, Lyra's voice breaking through the static. "Elena, listen carefully. The shuttle has cloaking capabilities. Activate the cloaking system, and they won't be able to track you." Relief flooded through her. Of course, the Zixians were masters of stealth technology. Her fingers danced over controls, finding the symbol Lyra had described. She pressed it, and the ship's hull shimmered, bending light around it. The enemy fighters hesitated, their targeting systems faltering. "Thank you, Lyra," Elena whispered, her heart heavy. She could only hope that Lyra was still safe, still fighting. But there was no turning back now. Earth needed her. The Shishin fleet continued their pursuit, firing wildly at the empty space where her shuttle had been. Elena held her breath, her eyes locked on the navigation screen. The cloaking field was draining the ship's power rapidly. She wouldn't stay invisible for long. She navigated through the chaos, slipping past the blockade undetected. Her hands trembled, adrenaline coursing through her veins as she guided the shuttle toward the edge of the system. A glimmer of hope sparked within her. She was going to make it. She was going to warn Earth. But hope was fleeting. A massive shadow loomed before her, a warship blocking her path, its cannons glowing ominously, charging with deadly energy. The cloaking field flickered, then failed, the shuttle's power reserves depleted. Xyler's face appeared on the comm screen, his golden eyes burning with fury. "Did you truly believe you could escape me, human?" His voice was low, dangerous. "Did you think my own sister's betrayal would go unpunished?" Elena's blood ran cold. He knew about Lyra. Her hands gripped the control yoke, her body trembling with rage. "She's fighting for what's right. Something you've forgotten." Xyler's eyes narrowed. "She is weak, a traitor to her people. And you are a fool, blinded by hope." His ship's cannons glowed brighter, aimed directly at her shuttle. "Your escape ends here." Elena's heart pounded, but she refused to back down. "You think killing me will break the human spirit? You're wrong. We will fight, we will rise, and we will defy you." Xyler's expression twisted with contempt. "You fight for a doomed world. Your species is already defeated. You just refuse to accept it." He raised his hand, ready to give the order. "Goodbye, Captain Marquez. May your death serve as an example to all who defy the Shishin Empire." Time seemed to slow as the cannons fired, a massive burst of energy racing toward her shuttle. Elena's fingers tightened on the controls, her mind racing. There was no escape, no way to dodge. This was it. Then, without warning, a blinding flash of light erupted behind Xyler's warship. Explosions ripped through his engines, the shock wave tearing his ship apart. Elena's eyes widened in disbelief as a fleet of human starships burst into view, weapons blazing. The comms crackled, and a familiar voice shouted, "This is Admiral Chun of the United Federation. We've got your back, Marquez." Elena's heart soared. Reinforcements. Earth hadn't given up on her. They had tracked her signal, come to her rescue. Xyler's face contorted with rage as his ship buckled, flames engulfing his command deck. "No, this isn't possible." "How?" His image flickered, then vanished as his warship exploded, debris scattering into the void. Elena's chest heaved with relief, her eyes stinging with tears. She wasn't alone. Humanity wasn't defeated, not yet. The Federation ships formed a protective formation around her shuttle, guiding her safely toward Earth. Admiral Chen's voice came through the comms again, steady and firm. "You did good, Captain. We received your data packet. Thanks to you, we know the Shishin attack plan. We're ready to defend Earth." Elena's heart swelled with gratitude. Lyra's sacrifice, her courage, it hadn't been in vain. "Thank you, Admiral. It wasn't just me. We had unexpected help. Her voice wavered, her thoughts drifting to Lyra, the sister who defied her own blood for the sake of peace. Chen's voice softened. Understood. Get back to base. We got a war to win. Elena leaned back in her seat, exhaustion washing over her. The battle was far from over, but humanity had hope, allies, and the will to fight. Xyler's conquest was no longer inevitable. As the stars blurred around her, Elena made a silent vow. She would fight for Earth, for peace, and for the memory of a Shishin who proved that even in the darkest hearts, light could still be found. The war had begun, but so had the resistance. Humanity would rise, and they would fight not just for survival, but for freedom. The shuttle broke through Earth's atmosphere, its hull rattling as it descended toward the surface. Flames licked at the edges of the cockpit window before dissipating, revealing the sprawling expanse of the United Federation's prime military base. Massive fortifications surrounded the complex, anti-aircraft guns and shield generators humming with energy. Fighter jets patrolled the skies, ready to fend against the impending Shishin invasion. Elena's heart swelled with pride. Humanity was prepared to fight back. Xyler had underestimated them, blinded by arrogance, but she knew the battle wouldn't be easy. The Shishin fleet was vast, their technology superior. Survival would depend on strategy, on resilience, and on hope. The shuttle's landing gear deployed with a thud, and she touched down on a landing pad. Engineers and soldiers rushed to secure the craft as the hatch hissed open. Elena stumbled out, her legs trembling from exhaustion, but she forced herself to stand tall. She was greeted by Admiral Chun, his imposing figure framed by the chaos of the bustling base. "Captain Marquez!" he shouted, his face a mixture of relief and urgency. "Damn good to see you in one piece." Elena saluted, her voice steady despite the turmoil within her. "Admiral, I have critical intel on the Shishin invasion. They're planning simultaneous strikes on our major cities and military installations. We don't have much time." Chen's expression hardened. "We intercepted fragments of their communications, but we needed confirmation. Your data just saved millions of lives." He placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did good, Elena." Elena's throat tightened. She thought of Lyra, of her sacrifice. "I had help from someone unexpected." She hesitated, unsure how to explain. "A Shishin, Xyler's sister. She risked everything to get me out, to stop him." Chen's eyes widened in shock. Xyler's own blood? Why would she betray her people? Elena's gaze hardened with resolve, because she saw the truth, that war and conquest aren't strength. They're fear. She believed in a better future, one where peace was possible. Chen studied her for a moment, then nodded solemnly. "We fight for that future, too. Let's make sure her sacrifice wasn't in vain." Together, they made their way to the war room, a massive chamber lined with holographic displays showing Earth's defense grid and the approaching Shishin fleet. Officers barked orders, technicians scrambled to update battle plans, and communication channels buzzed with reports from every corner of the planet. The tension was palpable. A hologram of Earth rotated at the center of the room, red markers indicating the Shishin attack points. It was just as Lyra had warned, coordinated strikes on strategic targets designed to shatter humanity's defenses in a single blow. Chun turned to Elena, his jaw clenched. "We've evacuated civilians from major cities and activated planetary shields, but our forces are stretched thin. If they break through, we'll be facing them on the ground." Elena studied the battle map, her eyes narrowing. "They're counting on overwhelming U.S., on shattering our morale. But they're arrogant, overconfident. If we hit them where they least expect it, we can turn their strategy against them." Chen's eyebrows raised. "You have a plan?" A fierce determination filled Elena's voice. "We draw them in, let them think they've broken our defenses. Then we strike back with everything we've got. Coordinated counterattacks on their flagships, sabotage teams to disable their command centers, and a fleet assault to disrupt their supply lines." She pointed to a weak spot in the enemy formation. Here, their rear flank is vulnerable. If we break through, we can cut off their escape route. Chen's eyes gleamed with approval. A bold move, high risk but high reward. If we pull it off, we could cripple their entire invasion force. He turned to his officers. Prepare the counteroffensive. Deploy the 7th Fleet to their rear flank, and get our ground forces ready for a full-scale engagement. Elena felt a surge of adrenaline. This was it. The battle for Earth was about to begin. The alarms blared, and the room shuddered as the first wave of Shishin ships broke through the atmosphere. The sky darkened, filled with the menacing silhouettes of warships descending like a swarm of locusts. Plasma cannons ignited, fiery streaks of destruction raining down on the cities below. The ground trembled as explosions rocked the landscape. Elena's fist clenched, her heart pounding. They're here. Chen's voice was a growl of defiance. Then let's give them hell. The Federation's defenses roared to life. Anti-aircraft batteries fired relentlessly, their beams slicing through the sky, tearing into the enemy fleet. Fighter squadrons launched, darting between the massive warships, unleashing missiles and energy blasts. Earth's planetary shields flickered, absorbing the brunt of the initial assault. But cracks were beginning to form. Elena watched the chaos unfold, her mind racing with strategies, adjustments, and counterattacks. She knew Xyler would be leading the charge, driven by his lust for conquest and his thirst for revenge. He would not rest until Earth was ashes, or until he was defeated. She turned to Chun, her eyes blazing with resolve. I'm going up there. If we take out Xyler, we can break their chain of command. Chin hesitated, concern flickering across his face. It's suicide. He'll be surrounded by his elite guard. Elena's jaw tightened. Then I'll make sure they regret underestimating humanity. She met his gaze, her voice firm. This is my fight. I won't let him destroy my world, not after everything we've lost. Chin nodded, respect and admiration in his eyes. Then go, and show him what humans are made of. Without another word, Elena sprinted toward the hangar, determination etched on her face. The base trembled as Shishin bombardments intensified, debris falling from the ceiling. She reached the hangar to find it in chaos. Pilots scrambling to their ships, engineers working frantically to repair damaged fighters. She spotted it then, a prototype interceptor, sleek and deadly, designed for stealth operations behind enemy lines. It was humanity's newest weapon, untested in actual combat, but potentially lethal. Captain Marquez. A young engineer rushed over, eyes wide with recognition. You can't possibly be thinking of... Prep the Phantom, Elena ordered, her voice leaving no room for argument. I'm taking her up. The engineer hesitated only a moment before nodding. She's fueled and armed. Stealth systems are operational, but they've never been tested against Shishin tech. Today's the day we find out, Elena replied grimly. Minutes later, she was strapped into the cockpit, the ship humming with power beneath her. The neural interface linked with her mind, the ship's systems becoming extensions of her own thoughts. It was disorienting at first, but then clarity came, a fusion of human instinct and machine precision. Control, this is Captain Marquez. Requesting emergency launch clearance. Clearance granted, Captain. Came the immediate response. May God be with you. The launch tubes ignited, and the Phantom shot forward, accelerating at a velocity that pressed Elena back into her seat. The G-forces threatened to overwhelm her, but she fought through it, focusing on her mission. The sky above was chaos. Shishin warships unleashing destruction, Earth's defenses fighting back desperately. Through the maelstrom, she spotted it. Xyler's new flagship, massive and imposing, hovering above the battlefield like a predator. The previous one had been destroyed, but of course he would have a contingency. Its hull was adorned with the distinctive markings of the High Commander, weapons ports glowing with deadly energy. Elena activated the Phantom stealth systems, and the ship shimmered before vanishing from visual detection. She maneuvered through the battle, dodging debris and energy blasts, her heart pounding as she approached the flagship. The neural interface fed her information constantly. Shield patterns, weapon systems, potential vulnerabilities. There, a small opening in the shield rotation, a split-second window that repeated every 37 seconds. It was barely large enough for the Phantom to slip through, requiring timing so precise that only the neural interface made it possible. Elena counted down, her breathing steady despite the chaos around her. 3, 2, 1. She pushed the Phantom to maximum thrust, and the ship shot forward, slipping through the shield gap with mere inches to spare. Alarms blared as the flagship systems detected the intrusion, but she was already inside, heading for the hangar bay. The Phantom crashed through the hangar force field, skidding across the deck in a shower of sparks. Elena unstrapped herself, grabbing the pulse rifle beside her seat. The neural link disengaged, leaving her momentarily disoriented, but she shook it off, forcing herself to focus. Shishin warriors poured into the hangar, weapons charged, but Elena was ready. She had come too far to fail now. The battle was brief but brutal, her training and determination against their superior strength and armor. She moved like lightning, using their numbers against them in confined space. Her shots finding the weak points in their armor. When it was over, she stood amidst the fallen warriors, breathing hard, her uniform singed from near misses. The path to the command center was clear, at least for now. She moved swiftly through the corridors, avoiding patrols when possible, engaging when necessary. The Shishin ship was a labyrinth of alien technology, but Elena had studied their designs during her captivity. The command center would be at the heart of the vessel, heavily guarded but accessible. As she approached, the ship shuddered violently. Earth's counterattack was working, their coordinated strikes breaching the flagship's outer defenses. She reached the massive doors of the command center, only to find them sealed. No time for subtlety. She planted explosive charges at the weak points, took cover, and detonated them. The doors blew inward with a deafening roar, and she charged through the smoke, rifle raised. The command center was vast, dominated by a central platform where Xyler stood, his golden eyes widening with disbelief as he recognized her. His elite guards moved to intercept, but Elena was faster, her rifle spitting energy bolts that dropped the first two before they could reach her. Impossible, Xyler snarled, drawing a ceremonial blade. A cruel, curved weapon that hummed with energy. You should be dead. You underestimated humanity, Elena replied, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Just as you underestimated your sister. Rage contorted Xyler's features. Lyra was a fool, blinded by weakness. Just like you. She saw what you couldn't. That true strength isn't about conquest. It's about connection, about building something greater than yourself. Elena's eyes narrowed. Where is she? A cold smile spread across Xyler's face. My dear sister? She's alive, for now, imprisoned for her treason, awaiting judgment. He circled Elena slowly, his blade gleaming. She'll watch as I crush your pathetic world, as I prove the superiority of the Shishin way. The remaining guards moved to attack, but Xyler raised a hand, stopping them. No, the human is mine. He lunged with inhuman speed, his blade slicing through the air where Elena had been a heartbeat before. She dodged, firing her rifle, but Xyler deflected the shots with his blade, the energy dissipating harmlessly against the weapon. Elena realized with growing dread that her rifle would be useless against him. She tossed aside and drew her combat knife, woefully inadequate against his blade, but all she had. You would face me with that? Xyler laughed, the sound echoing through the command center. Your courage is admirable but futile. It's not the weapon, Elena replied, assuming a defensive stance. It's the warrior. They clashed in a blur of movement, blade against knife, experience against training. Xyler was stronger, faster, his reach longer, but Elena was agile, unpredictable, fighting with the desperation of someone defending their home. She ducked under his swing, her knife Finding a gap in his armor, drawing first blood, Xyler howled in rage, his attacks becoming more ferocious, less controlled. Elena uses anger against him, conserving her energy, looking for openings. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time, the battle outside intensifying. A sudden explosion rocked the command center, throwing them both off balance. A section of the ceiling collapsed, crushing several control stations and guards. Through the breach, Elena could see the battle raging outside, Earth's forces pressing their advantage, the Shishin fleet beginning to falter. Xyler saw it too, his face contorting with disbelief. No, this cannot be. He charged at Elena with renewed fury, his blade slicing through her defenses, cutting a deep gash across her shoulder. Pain seared through her, but she refused to yield. They exchanged blows, each drawing blood, both weakening but neither willing to surrender. The command center systems began to fail, emergency lights bathing the room in a crimson glow. Through the chaos, Elena spotted a familiar figure entering through a side door. Lyra, her violet eyes blazing with determination, her body bearing the marks of torture, but her spirit unbroken. Xyler, Lyra's voice cut through the noise. Enough! Can't you see your invasion is failing? End this madness. Xyler turned, distracted for a crucial moment. Traitor, how did you escape? That split second was all Elena needed. She lunged forward, her knife finding its mark. Not a killing blow, but one that sent Xyler's blade clattering to the floor. Before he could recover, she had him pinned, her knife at his throat. It's over, Xyler, she panted, blood trickling from her wounds. Your fleet is scattered, your flagship crippled. Surrender, and we can end this without further bloodshed. Xyler's golden eyes burned with hatred. But there was something else there, too, a glimmer of respect, however reluctant. You have proven more formidable than I anticipated, human. The ship lurched violently, systems failing catastrophically around them. Lyra rushed forward, her expression urgent. The reactor's critical. We need to evacuate now. Elena hesitated, her knife still at Xyler's throat. She could end it here, eliminate the threat once and for all. Justice for the countless lives lost to his ambition. But that wasn't why she fought. She fought for peace, for a future where violence wasn't the answer. Killing him in cold blood would make her no better than what she despised. She pulled back, though she kept her stance ready. Your people need a leader who values life, not conquest. They need someone like Lyra. Xyler's laugh was bitter. And you think they would follow her? A traitor? They'll follow strength, Elena replied, meeting his gaze steadily. True strength. Another explosion rocked the ship, sending them stumbling. Lyra grabbed Elena's arm. We need to go. Now! Xyler rose to his feet, swaying slightly, blood streaming from his wounds. For a moment, it seemed he might attack again, but then his shoulders slumped, defeat etched on his proud features. Go, he said quietly. This ship is my responsibility. My failure. Understanding dawned on Elena. He would go down with his flagship, as dictated by Shishin honor. She wanted to argue, to insist he face justice, but Lyra was already pulling her toward the exit. There's no time. Lyra insisted. We need to reach the escape pods. They ran through collapsing corridors, dodging falling debris and electrical fires. Behind them, Xyler's voice echoed one last time over the ship's comm system. Attention all Shishin forces. This is High Commander Xyler. The invasion is over. Retreat and regroup. Live to fight another day. Elena's heart leaped. It wasn't surrender, but it was something, a chance for peace, however fragile. They reached the escape pods, launching just as a flagship's reactor went critical. The explosion illuminated space like a newborn star, debris scattering across Earth's orbit. In its wake, the Shishin fleet began to withdraw, their formation breaking apart as they retreated to the outer system. The small pod drifted through the debris field, its communication system crackling with transmissions from Earth. Confused reports of the Shishin retreat, celebrations as a planetary defense grid, confirmed the enemy's withdrawal. Elena slumped against the bulkhead, exhaustion overwhelming her as the adrenaline faded. Beside her, Lyra stared out at the stars, her expression unreadable. "What happens now?" Elena asked softly. Lyra turned to her, a sad smile on her face. "My brother is gone, but the Empire remains. There will be power struggles, factions vying for control. Some will call for vengeance, others for change. And where do you stand in all this?" Lyra's eyes gleamed with determination. "I will fight for the Shishin. I believe we can be explorers, builders, diplomats, not conquerors." She hesitated. "But it won't be easy. The path to peace never is." Elena nodded, understanding all too well. "You won't be alone. Earth stand with you." A Federation rescue ship appeared in the distance, moving to intercept their pod. As it approached, Elena gazed out at Earth, its blue surface partly obscured by the smoke of battle, but still beautiful, still resilient. The war wasn't truly over. There would be negotiations, rebuilding, healing. The scars would remain for generations. But today, they had proven that peace was possible, that strength could be found in compassion, as well as courage. As the rescue ship docked with their pod, Elena thought of all they had lost, all they had gained. She thought of Xyler, of his pride in his final act. Not quite redemption, but perhaps the beginning of understanding. Most of all, she thought of Lyra, who had risked everything for what she believed was right, who had proven that even in the darkest hearts, light could still be found. The battle for peace had been won, but the struggle to maintain it was just beginning. And Elena was ready to face that challenge, one day at a time, with hope in her heart and stars in her eyes. Some wars were fought with weapons, others with words. But the most important battles, the ones that truly mattered, were fought with courage, with compassion, and with the unwavering belief that tomorrow could be better than today. That was the true battle for peace. And it was one worth fighting for, across galaxies and generations, until the day when weapons fell silent and the stars belonged to all. In the vastness of space, among the debris of Xyler's flagship, a small escape pod drifted silently, its systems powered down to avoid detection. Inside, a lone figure sat in darkness, golden eyes gleaming with malice, a hand pressed against a wound that should have been fatal. High Commander Xyler was not dead, and his war was far from over. He had survived through sheer will, through hatred and purpose. The human had taught him something valuable. Never underestimate your enemy. Next time, he would not make the same mistake. The pod's emergency beacon activated, sending a coded signal to his loyal followers. They would come for him, regroup, rebuild, and when they returned, the galaxy would tremble. For now, he would wait and plan, and remember the face of the human who had humbled him. "Until we meet again, Captain Marquez," he whispered to the darkness. "Until we meet again. Or perhaps just the beginning."